Welcome to the channel. My name is Piotr Kowalczyk, and in this video we are exploring a brand new approach towards horns. We call it a left-hand comp. The usual way of doing business is to applying a close voicing drop 2, drop 3 technique. But what if you come up with another technique what actually makes your voicings different? Could be a good thing. Let's get started. Left-hand comp is extremely useful technique in big band arrangement. It's mostly common to use it on piano as a pianist, to improvise, to comp the chords progression on top of their improvisation by using the left hand. Left-hand comp uses the left hand. The amount of fingers in that hand are 5. So we are thinking about between 3 and 5 components I could use by using that technique. Now, when I become aware of triad 7 chords and tensions, I start being more selective towards which notes to present. During the presentation of our brand new piece, we ask you which section should we make primary and which section should be adjusted to that primary target. So I agreed with myself that I want to keep the saxophone section. Saxophone section, it's right here. Our adjustments went to trombones. Trombone 1 stands for new take of the trombone playing. Trombone 2, 3, and 4 for the old version. What I'm going to do, I'm going to eliminate the old versions of playing. By the way, we kept some of it. You see, exactly, like this line is identical with the first trombone, so is this, so is this. Okay? So now, the old version still exists on the trombone 1. If I hit V1, I get the old version. If I hit V2, I get the new one. You can record as many versions you want until you're satisfied. We achieved that track by using left-hand comp. And that's why this technique is so powerful. Unfortunately, there is a certain things what we have to be aware. Let me show you. Let's use the sound of the piano to describe that idea. Simple fact. The way we build the chords in music look like this. Key of C. We play the note, we skip the note. And we are gonna reach that moment that we have no choice but to duplicate the very first note 2 octaves higher. The way we see these notes, we call them 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13. It's designed based on that logic. The notes responsible for tremendous influence of the direction of the chord, we call them 3 and 7. In a key of C, 3 and 7. There could be inversion 7 and 3, but they don't change the fact that we target these notes, okay, as a primary target. In the F major 7 scale, A, it's a 3, and E, it's a 7. In the B flat 7, D, it's 3, and A, 7. A flat, 3, as a G, and D as a 7. And that's the game. So left-hand comp expands upon that idea. When we say C minor 7, that's the root, and then I play. My playing includes 4 different notes. My target notes are from the bottom, flat 7, we call it 7, tension 9th as D, flat 3, and 5. And of course, I can alter this, the shape of the chord, by presenting tension 9, flat 3, 5, and 7 from the bottom, or flat 3, 5, flat 7, tension 9th. Okay? So now I'm aware of those possibilities. I can always substitute 5 with tension 11th. See what I mean? Different sound. Different sound. Flat 7, tension 9, flat 3, and tension 11th. So basically I combine 2 different tensions with 2 different flavor notes, which is 3 and 7. F7 as a dominant chord, that's the root. I skip the root from the bottom, flat 7, tension 9th, 3, and tension 13th. I can alter this. 3 on the bottom, tension 13th, flat 7, and tension 9th on top. Okay, so that's the game. So now, I don't know if you noticed, but I try to not to use the root. Root is gonna be played, so I don't want to waste my resources. Okay, so I play C minor 7. So it doesn't present itself like a C minor chord until I hit that root. F7, C minor 7, that's the root, I skip you. Idea of using it, and F7. Okay? And of course, another thing to be aware of, that the chord becomes another chord. The last thing I want to do is to jump with my left-hand comp like an insane person. So what do? I do something called close resolutions. C minor 7 becomes F7. And look, from this point, all I have to do is just one ingredient. This flat 7 becomes 3 of the new chord. Okay? So now if I jump here, it's still F7, 3, tension 13th, flat 7 and 9th. Let's just resolute it to B flat major 7. So I could do something like this. Even though it doesn't sound like a B flat 7 until now, includes 7, major 7 on the bottom, tension 9, 3, and tension 13th. Of course, I could substitute that tension into 5, and I could change that tension 9th to root. But all I'm saying that I make choices, and I'm searching for that very unique sound I can present by using that technique. When we roll back to our trombone line, you start hearing this left-hand comp. Our trombone 1 includes 4 voicings. Let me play it without the reverb first. Okay, so this is the example of trombones. Even though we don't hear any bass line or piano comp, we already get the feel of the harmonic movement. If I unleash the bass, this is how it sounds like. Okay, so this is what's happening. If we unleash the drum set and the piano, okay. Now, since we know that everything sounds the way we want, we just add the reverb for fun, and all of a sudden, with this spaciousness, we've got this good feel of the direction of that music. So let's just pretend that everything is just the way it's perfect, right? Now I can distribute that voice through trombone 2, trombone 3, trombone 4. They all now stand for the same essence. Here's the problem. 4 trombones become 8, 8 becomes 16. No one is that rich. Okay, so what do? I start peeling the voicings. And that's another technique I love to use. In the first trombone, we are going to keep the very top voice and mute other voices. So very quickly, I'm gonna mute, sorry about the noise, trombone 2, 3, and 4. In second trombone, I'm gonna mute the top voicing and 3 and 4. You see how fast I just did that? Now trombone 3, we're gonna keep that third voice. And mute 1, 2, and 4. Okay, everything becomes much more cleaner. In the trombone 4, we are gonna mute every 1, 2, and 3 and keep the 4. So now you see, one track, trombone 1 includes the top voicing, trombone 2, second from the top, 3, third line, and fourth one, the last one. If we select them. Hold on, I'm gonna mute the rhythm section. Here we go. Okay, so now we've got sound of 4 different trombones. There is more to this technique than just the voicings. You see, we muted other voices instead of deleting them for a reason. If I ever change my mind, I can unmute other voice and mute previous one if I found it, that something is missing and I want to change the direction of my travel. Okay, so these are the trombones. If I ever give myself a tip to my past projects, I could tell myself this. Polish one track beautifully before you start copying. What it does, if you spend more time polishing that track and make it, organized and the volume-wise, the dynamics, articulation, everything is in place and the chords progression makes sense. Now, if I start copying that track, everything is gonna be much cleaner and I'm gonna work much faster. If I rush that process and start copying the same track times 2, 3, 4, I quadruple the amount of mistakes in my music. So now it's like I like it, but I can't go back. So what do? I start fixing, and I start fixing all those duplicated tracks times 4. Okay? Which means it creates a bigger mess than before, and I struggle just a little bit more than usual. In the end of the day, it's all about saving your energy and stop yourself from the total exhaustion. And I prefer the very first approach. Just think about it. Okay, so now we've got all the voices spread the way we like. Okay, with the rhythm section from the top. Okay, so that's the work. You have to be aware that sometimes, instead of 4 voices, we use only 3. You see, let me find this, for example, this section. Okay, so if we unmute them all, you see in 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so what I did in this moment, I doubled the amount of resonance in the middle, on the middle of the sound. So instead of duplicating the first note or the bottom, we make the stronger impact on the second trombone by mixing second with the third. So this note is doubled. This note is doubled. But this is a middle note of that chord. Okay, and it works beautifully. When we talk about passion, you know that the passion doesn't know the borders, doesn't understand the time. Passion is passion. You are there 100%. I passionately fall in love with left-hand comb. What the left-hand comb does to my arrangement is allows me to see and hear the relationships between horns from slightly different perspective. Instead of following the usual close voicing drop 2, drop 3 circumstances, I started developing my voicings that way. Also, I realized that this technique is excellent when you want to keep your horns tight. The intervallic relationships, what we create with that hand, are very spicy and very inspiring. Behind the scene, we've been working on our saxophones as well. But we're gonna move that conversation to the next video. Let me know what you think. My name is Piotr Kowalczyk. I will see you next time.